Hey everyone, Randy here from Geek. I know most of my videos on this channel are video reviews or video features, but once in a great while I get to go to a press event. I thought it'd be kind of fun to show you what it's like. Ubisoft invited me to New York to check out Tom Clancy's The Division. Since the game and the press event are both in Manhattan, I thought it'd be fun to head up. First things first, I have to double check their guidelines. They're promising hands-on time with the game, interview opportunities, some direct feed, and assets like screenshots, concept art, and B-roll. The event will run from 11 to 4, lunch will be provided. Typically these types of events just serve sandwiches, drinks, and snacks on the side table. They will be providing all capture equipment. Gameplay should not include story cinematics, menus, and skill trees for spoiler reasons, and any unedited gameplay clips should be no longer than 15 minutes. Now that I've double-checked everything, now that I've got the address and plugged it all into my GPS, now it's time for me to pack up the car and get ready for a long drive to New York.
Run along now! Whoa!
Google initially calculated it would take me about 2 hours to get there, but thanks to double accidents in the Lincoln Tunnel and a single accident in the Holland Tunnel, it took me close to 3.5. Luckily, I left early enough in the morning with a huge cup of coffee and some fruit, and I arrived with some spare time to check out some of the game's locations downtown. First stop was the US Post Office, where Division headquarters are set up on the corner of 8th and 31st, with Madison Square Garden behind me. After that, I went east to 6th Street, where you can find an entrance to the Dark Zone, the section of the city cordoned off due to extreme violence and contamination from the outbreak in the game. The sidewalk was closed off, so I had to do my best with my rinky little pocket camcorder sticking out a bit in the street to try to match up my shots. By then, I had just enough time to stop in a deli, grab some lunch, and head over to the venue. There was a lot of standing around in a pretty normal business lobby, making small talk until they let everyone in. This was not a standard game tour. Ubisoft's PR really pulled out all the bells and whistles and recreated a small disaster scene, complete with a police car, a fog machine, and to tie it in with the game's winter setting, it was snowing inside. Lunch was served before we got started. I was right, sandwiches and drinks, but I skipped that. I was expecting about 12 consoles and monitors before coming in, but I counted close to 50. They even had a nice little stage area where they gave some background on the game's development, but spent most of the time talking about the plausibility of the game's scenario and other product tie-ins that they've done up until now, like a series from Rocket Jump called The Division Agent Origins and a book called New York Collapse. The book I found to be a far more interesting multimedia idea. It's an urban survival guide held by one of the people who lived through the events leading up to the game, and the author of the book seems to have intimate prior knowledge of the outbreak that wiped out New York to a stunning degree, even leaving hidden clues within the text. The book has other objects inside, like a map to Manhattan, a subway ticket, a missing poster, and a few other odds and ends because the owner of the book used it as a journal in the margins. The book itself will apparently play a minor role in The Division. We played The Division on Xbox One and they captured everyone's video right on the spot, and some of us even had face cams in case you wanted to sync up your footage. There's a reason why I'm not a huge Let's Player. My brain turns off when I play games and I just look like this. Lifeless and soulless and eternally judgmental. My team of illustrious gentlemen was comprised of TBH from Gaming Illuminati, Swiftdoor, one of the UI developers from Ubisoft named Sebastian, and myself. We asked Sebastian if he had seen the feedback for the game's UI and HUD. He said that he had, and that fortunately for PC players, the HUD has a level of customizability that the console version will not. Other Ubisoft representatives acknowledged the cheaters and exploiters in the beta, and noted they were ready for abusers upon full launch. Here's hoping. But my impressions after playing the game were largely the same coming out as they were going in, though this build did feel better than the beta I just had access to. There were far more enemies inside and out of the Dark Zone, which was a welcome change. My team of 4 played through Madison Square Garden mission again, and a later level 20 mission. I largely played the game solo during the beta, and it felt real nice getting in some co-op time. And that's what I'm looking forward to most with this game, the co-op. There's still a staggeringly short supply of decent co-op games. I felt a bit like the odd man out. I'm only occasionally a fan of competitive multiplayer. Everyone around me seemed to be going nuts to get back into the Dark Zone. The Dark Zone's PvE, crossbred with PvP to steal each other's loot, seems like an interesting idea, but I'm still worried about its longevity. Without more structured missions or reasons to work together en masse, I don't see many people like myself going back in unless they're really bored or really want to try their luck. And without more casual players like myself regularly going into the Dark Zone, the entire area could devolve into a constant war zone where people with the absolute best gear will just stomp newcomers as they walk through the door. At that point, it's not about getting better gear, it's just about messing with people. My time with the game ran out. I actually played past 4 o'clock, and while I waited for my footage to download to a flash drive, I continued to chat with people and watched some last-minute interviews wrap up around the room. No doubt this was the most elaborate press event I've ever been to, and while I appreciate the theatrics, I really would have been fine in a conference room with just some monitors and consoles. But then it's back to my car, pay the $60 parking fee, fight traffic, drive a few hours to get home, just to realize that I had lost my handwritten notes somewhere along the way, so I had to jot everything down before I passed out. And that's what it's like to go to a press event. This video is made possible through generous fan donations on Patreon.